Archaeonauts, away!
What do you think these guys are doing? Are they admiring something? Maybe having a contest of some sort among themselves? Or are they just bowing their head in prayer? Actually, prayer might be pretty close to what they are doing. Apparently they are doing a type of meditation called navel gazing. At least that's what the Wikipedia description says they are doing. The statues are at the Louvre Museum in Paris. On the one hand, initially I'd be a little skeptical of that description, but on the other hand, it really isn't hard to believe. There were people all across the ancient world who thought the belly button was kind of a big deal. Here's a description from the 1850s by Robert Alfred Vaughan of some monks from Mount Athos in Greece. It seems that some of the monks held that if a man shut himself up in a corner of his cell with his chin upon his breast, turning his thoughts inwards, gazing towards his navel, and centering all the strength of his mind on the region of the heart, and not discouraged by at first perceiving only darkness, held out at this strange in-looking for several days and nights, he would at length behold a divine glory, and see himself luminous with the very light which was manifested on Mount Tabor. They call these devotees navel contemplators. A sorry business. All the monks, for lack of aught else to do, were by the ears about it, either trying the same or reviling it. So some of those Greek monks seem to be into navel gazing, but what's interesting to me is you could find examples of statues and figurines from around the ancient world, far and wide, that accentuate the navel in some way. One example of featuring the belly button is in the Easter Island Moai statues. It might not be the first thing you notice about them, but the statues' hands are on their bellies with the fingers pointing towards the belly button. This seems to be what most, if not all of them, are doing. With some of them, it's kind of hard to see it because they are so weathered, but that's what they are doing. Here is one that is better looking, and I'm not sure if it's an original one or a reproduction. I suspect it's probably a reproduction, but it does show how the hands accentuate the navel area. Another example very similar to the Moai is actually all the way over in Turkey at Göbekli Tepe. You can see the same look here with the arms and hands pointing to what would be the navel area of a person. And this is over 12,000 years old, so this accentuating the navel area goes way back into prehistory too. Now at this point you might be saying it looks like they just have their hands on their waist. It's not really about the navel. Well, then there is this. This Canaanite figurine doesn't even appear to have arms, but the sculptor still managed to find a way to emphasize the navel area by giving it a huge belly button. I mean, it really stands out. I'm not sure if you'd call this an innie or an outie. It's similar to this one found in Cyprus, which has a noticeable belly button and the fingers are pointing towards it, like how the Easter Island Moai do in the pillars at Göbekli Tepe. On a side note here, this figurine also appears to be either wearing some kind of headgear or has some extremely abnormally large brow ridge going around its head. I mean, it does look like the ridge and the bridge in the nose are connected. I think the Moai are also depicting people with large brow ridges. I mean, maybe not as large as what this figurine has, but larger than what most modern people have today anyway. Kind of like this guy, maybe, to show a picture of a modern person with a large brow ridge. Or these guys from the Popeye cartoons. And I don't know if this figurine is depicting an extremely large brow ridge or some kind of headgear, but it was just something I thought about because sometimes ancient sculptures that appear abstract or very crude depictions of a person might not be as abstract as you think at first glance. The Moai are almost certainly a little bit abstract, but I don't know that they are as abstract as you might think they are at first glance. I think they are depicting kind of a long-faced people with a large nose and brow ridge. But anyway, large brow ridges are not really the topic here. Just another thought I wanted to interject at this point. So getting back to belly buttons, here's another example from the Americas. He's from the Huastec culture, and you can see he's got a very noticeable belly button. There's also this figurine from the Huastec culture. She doesn't look pregnant to me, so I think she might be emphasizing her belly button. So with that said, you can find a lot of ancient statues and figurines with belly buttons. The ones I was interested in here are the ones that appear to emphasize it in some way. There are some pregnant statues that you can find that might also look like they are emphasizing the navel area, but I think the pregnant belly as a whole is what is being emphasized with those figures. I don't think Buddha bellies are emphasizing the navel either. And there are plenty of statues that have belly buttons that don't accentuate it. But some ancient statues do appear to accentuate the belly button, either as something to do with fertility or maybe just life in some way. And they appear all across the world, in places far away from each other, and sometimes far away in time as well. It might not be the only thing the statue is emphasizing or even the most noticeable feature, but they do draw attention to it in the examples I've shown here. But what is the reason ancient and even prehistoric people made statues that appear to accentuate the navel area? I think it's kind of hard to say. In yoga, the belly button is where the navel chakra is, which is an important energy center in the body. Could it be something to do with that? Do prehistoric people know the navel was an energy center in the body? Or could it have something to do with like a fertility ritual where the specific details of the ritual have been lost to time? It is where the umbilical cord was connected to the person when in the mother's womb, so I guess there's an association with life or fertility there, but I'm not sure how a ritual about it would go. Usually fertility rituals featured other body parts. But what if it could be some unique way of identifying a person, kind of like how we use fingerprinting today, or maybe some shamans could read the belly button the way some people read palms today. I don't know. There's a lot of ideas there, but I'm not sure what the real significance was to the ancients. Maybe I'm overthinking it, and maybe it wasn't really the navel they were trying to emphasize, but whatever the case may be, those Greek monks from the beginning of the video seem to get something out of meditating on the navel area. I'm not sure what they get out of it, but what do I know? I haven't tried. Have you ever tried meditating while staring at your belly button? If you did, and you got anything out of it other than Lent, let me know. Those are my thoughts on that. Thanks for listening.